afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from the host Imperial Dame. We're off here to 2 versus 2 on Val Farmlands. Yes, indeed, Val Farmlands. We shall be looking on the right-hand side. Ciez and Lemon fighting for Germany, for the Reich, for the Panzerlehr Panzerdivision. Strafing forward for the Reich, hammering into American lines here under the command of Chukonoko and Sarantini, fighting here for the United States and the 5th Infantry Division, tasked with holding these vital farmlands, protecting a vital flank for a larger armoured corps, which of course the Panzerlehr hopes to shatter. Doctrines are infantry, airborne and rifle company for Sarantini, Chukonoko with armour, infantry and airborne. Ciez here with elite troops, spearhead and Jaeger armour. And finally Lemon with breakthrough, Luftwaffe ground forces and fortifications. Yeah. Volksgrenadier is there and a Kubwagen on the way for him. We're back here to Sarantini. Bulletin wise we're seeing some stacking attempts here. Otherwise infantry, and Sarantini with an emphasis here on armour and tank destroyers though. Sort of standing out a bit there. Heading north there, but looks like the primary German focus here so far is on the southern part of the map. We are seeing Ciez and both Lemon sort of pouring down the major force here towards the southwest. There's a slight sort of emphasis here, whereas the Americans are sort of more spreading out. They're probably also trying to feel out where are the Germans sort of planning to sort of go for. So of course that'll be interesting to see how sort of this quickly turns out. We are noting here that Chukonoko's leading quite well ahead there. First engaging their opponents in the fire, and rearguard troops are coming under fire from Kubwagen and Volksgrenadiers. At this point they could, for example, begin to gather the idea that already the Germans are gathering heavily in the south centrewards position. Looks like there we go, might be the reaction here. Sarantini's beginning to shift forces down there. In fact, also noting he's gone for 2 re-echelons, 2 riflemen squad there. Pioneers under fire, trying to take the fuel. MD42 sending up here, re-echelon troops doing his best to sort of keep the Germans occupied, but that is a forlorn hope, which results quickly retreat after poor Harry gets shot there. Force here denying the building there to the Sturm Pioniere. Sturm Pioniere still closing in, Rifleman sneaking up there. Still taking territory here though. Further firing down here, Rifleman occupying the building here as well. Pioneers moving in, coming under fire there. M1 Garands singing as other Grenadiers moving in through the ditch here to engage the house as well. Might work here, might not. Grenadiers are getting up front in the building. Very dangerous situation here. But there we go. Now they're at the sort of less broad side there, but at the same time the Pioneers will take big damage. Riflemen should overall might be able to win this out. Might not. Still Pioneers here with the Kubwagen moving about. The Americans closing in from the north. Very sort of strong American opening here. So far, heavy push there. The Riflemen battle group headquarters going up here by the farm buildings south of the village. Volkswagen's under fire. Riflemen for Curler moving in. Volkswagen's doing what they can. Kubwagen as well, sort of stem the American tide. In fact, very close, already getting the cut-off point, in which case the Germans will be cut off here, in fact, in a small pocket. MG42 joining in here. Riflemen now in a bit more trouble due to the Pioneers were forced away. The guns themselves are also close to getting cut down archly, but the MG42 might be able to turn things against Riflemen. Low on health, and there you go. Chukonoko abandoning the premises. The US continuing to pressure their Riflemen flanking, and they might be able to get the Kubwagen here. There's an MG42 covering there. Volkswagen's pulling back here to the battle group headquarters, safely established. Kubwagen pulling away. More Riflemen moving in. No, oh, there's a captain on the way there for Sarantini. Chukonoko, maybe with the lieutenant. There we go. Rearguard troops slipping force away, and there we go. An attempt here going for the cut-off point was bravely stopped here by a unit of Grenadiers with their Kar 98Ks. Rearguard troops there fighting. Volkswagen's MG42 there. Sturm Pioniers moving in. And there you go, a bit of volley fire on the Volksgrenadiers. And there you go, the Riflemen were actually able to force away the Grenadiers there, but ultimately the MG42 here proved too much of an obstacle, finally stopping the Riflemen right there in the tracks. Still, massive sort of containment of the Germans early on, but of course the Americans are beginning to quickly bleed out, and we're noting here an early choice of airborne here for Sarantini, and we are noting here that some Pathfinders have actually been called in on the field.
Captain just took the battlefield.
Lieutenant finally arriving at the scene only to see most of his men running the other way. An inspiring start here for a fresh junior officer on the field. And note an MD-34 right there for Lemons. Is either going for fortifications or Luftwaffe. Either way, he's got an MD-34.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Northern point there being secured. M20 out here for Chukonoko. Certainly limited options here for dealing from the Germans at the moment, just to be able to do some damage. There you go, the MG42 forced away there, the 50 caliber going to be too much. You should probably try and hunt down the Kugelwagen, maybe some MG42s, MG34s here, as quickly as possible there with this M20. The more damage you can do early on, the better. Although we do now see the Volkswagen here from Lemon have been upgraded with the Panzerschreck, increasing Lemon's anti-tank capabilities, which will certainly be the more impressive one, since all Ciez at the moment can muster is Panzerfaust, though he might be able to get a Pack 40 soon, or maybe some scout cars to sort of deal with the M20. They like to make it as company is up. Cool Van Gogh can to stall things down there. And a quick harassment move here for the northern fuel point by Ciez, very boldly, rather than moving in to deal with that. Volkswagen here getting cut down. Need to be careful there, and there we go. Lemon retreats just in time over to Chukonoko. No doctrine for him as of yet. And noting that Chukonoko going here for an early fuel cache to sort of boost both players' fuel income. Certainly gain them further fuel advantage. Those gems will, by the way, have not re-secured the southern one, but are at least going to cut off the northern one. So far no response there from the Americans to sort of deal with that, and it's sort of like the assault here straight from the MG34 and the Kugelwagen. Resulting in an awful lot of gentlemen getting suppressed. And there we go, Chukonoko's M20 moving up here to deal with the Grenadiers. Rather could then cut off on the retreat path maybe. Maybe get the entire squad, and that would definitely do a blow there to Ciez. And a 2-2-1 light tier puncher Speerwagen has arrived here to see off the enemies as Reich. Germans are slowly spreading out there from the south. And there you go, Grenadiers got Dick get wiped out. And there you go, 2-2-2 upgrade here for Ciez. Rather quick force away. They do not have anti-tank rifle, so they really have no options there. And there you go, Ciez is likely going to try and do as much damage as they maybe get a squad up there, at least the one with less health. Getting close there. Punishing the Americans for the crime of not being German. More forces moving out there. And we do see now actually infantry has been chosen here for Chukonoko, opening up from mortar half-tracks, sandbags, and soon Browning light machine guns, which then goes to the Pioneers. Bit of an overwhelming force. But there you go, Grenadiers joining in the fight. Still managing to hold away the few points here from the Germans. That's definitely going to slow up attacking overall. And we know here a second scout car for Ciez. Very interesting. Rare to see a German player actually go for more than one scout car at the same time anyway, so a small scout car patrol there. And generally they sort of tend to operate in platoons or squadrons of 2 at a time. Independently, occasionally sort of a mix of a light one and a heavier scout car, like the 231 or the 234. Oh, mine went off there. Looks like a M21 had been laid down there, losing Ciez a vehicle. Looks like those were only the 221, not the one he upgraded there with the auto cannon. So I suppose that's a small relief there for Ciez. And the Wehrmacht sandbags going up there, but they might be in a bit of trouble there. Kuma covering things here as well. M20 moving down. Volkswagen with the Panzerschreck moving in as well. In fact, several Panzerschrecks of 8. The Americans alternating here. Schwerer Panzer quarters up. Pack 40 moving in as well. Losing down everything to defend the fuel point here. We could see the M20 go down there. At best, he might be able to salvage the bazooka crew. But no. A horrific explosion. Though what exactly inside that thing could horrifically explode, except maybe the mines, is a good question. No, my vintage fireworks collection which I brought with me to France. No.
A capture point is being overrun.
I don't know. Anyways. 2-2s moving forwards here, supporting infantry. Anthony light infantry support platforms there, plastering the Vietnam troops there with auto cannon fire. Assault up here. The MD-34 continues to be sort of a nice obstacle there. North once more being fallen back here as once more small troops are being sent to harass, drawing away American attention here from the centre. And the Americans are very sort of keen on a head-on assault, trying to sort of break through the centre, but again running into an awful lot of machine guns. And such, which all minimize the effect of a head-on assault. We do see a bit of artillery here from Sarantini. Our pack house has arrived, and we are popping over here to Ciez. No, talk to him from Yell, and very little infantry. I mean, he's down to 1 grenadier squad. He needs to get some more, I would say. Maybe some Panzer grenadiers to sort of add into things. Well, he's got a large amount of scout cars here, clearly a Panzerlehr, Aufklärungsabteilung, providing most of Chukonoko's elements there. And he is up to 3 scout cars. Now, that is definitely not the sort of thing you'd usually see from the Wehrmacht, which also makes it interesting. I mean, in essence, you'll have a lot of firepower and sort of weak frame, but also highly mobile. It could actually do a lot for him. A lot for him, in fact. So that should be very interesting to see how Ciez will actually handle this. Though it's also something that does have the ability to basically go up in flames very quickly. Another attempt at flanking doesn't quite succeed, but at least they're taking back the fuel point up here. And noting a second fuel cache up here, so the Americans are really gearing up for some future armoured warfare by the looks of it. Pack cards are continuing to bombard here, hoping to catch some Krauts. Caps advancing. Captain Jones in a bit of trouble there. Caught behind the wall and out in the open there. Getting plastered with everything the Germans can throw at them except the kitchen sink. And what is this? Already here, Chukonoko has tagged up and he's already got a Sherman out on the field. The M4A3, ready to strike fear into the hearts of the Krauts. Well, he's tied those rounds into wherever it hits. And there you go, Brown Light Machine Guns up for Chukonoko as well. Increasing his firepower versus the infantry. Right now, a target though for the Sherman might be to get those scout cars, as they're currently a prowling wolf pack ready to seize upon any small unit of American riflemen. There you go, they're just tearing them apart. Some nice flanking action there. And there you go, oh no! Grenadiers are covering the flank and quickly ambushing this Sherman, getting it with a Panzerfaust, allowing the scout to get away pretty easily. Nicely done there by Ciez. Also noting he's actually got more infantry now, he's also getting several packs now to help deal with the armoured threat. The Americans though need to consider shifting towards other angles, or at the very least they need to get more artillery, since one pack house is not going to help them break through all of this. And now Orbis will instead of arriving here for Lemon, and we are noting here what is this. A Jackson has arrived for Sarantini, so now both players are there with their own majors respectively. Sherman not trying to flank in again, do a bit of damage on the sides. That could maybe have worked out. And Ciez basically using his scout cars as a response force here, sort of quickly moving from side to side to sort of deal with Americans wherever it goes, maybe wipe a unit here and there. And of course, might soon have more problems, anti-tank guns and Jacksons join in. And then, oh, the rear troops ran straight for everything! That wasn't exactly the bright idea now, was it, Johnny? And there we go, MD-34 actually went down here to the Sherman. He said to being secured again, but the American approach already seems to have gone from, being very aggressive on the flanks to being sort of, trying to bash away through the German lines, which is already sort of encountering some larger issues. But there we go, we've got a Sherman down the flank. Might want to support it with Jacksons and infantry, MD-42 pulling back here. Wagner and MD-42 stopping the assault here from the Lieutenant. Interesting, there's been no grenade signs here from the Americans, no smoke or anything like that, which could also have helped. If they really were insistent on head-on assaults, I mean, in that regard, they do seem a bit curious in that regard, trying at least, if they're going to go for it, at least get some smoke down on the bastards. Sherman needs to be careful, there you go, Panzerfaust and Pack 40 going off there. Sherman taking heavy damage, Jackson nearby, ready to support, but there's not really much for it to support against except the scout cars. In that case, the Jackson could be considered a bit overkill. But Sherman rolling back rapidly. Ambulance covering 2 forces here. 50 calibers all have arrived. Sort of add further pressure here. Pack Howard got off a decent shot. And there again we see the scout car sort of dealing with any sort of threat on the flanks, any lighter threat. And as usual, there's no sort of... Oh, we actually pulled back there. I think he could actually come on the scout cars there, but instead we do see here that in this case, I believe Sarantini was a bit quick to hit the retreat. Also note, no mid-game announce again, another long match. My apologies. My apologies. Popping over here to Lemon. So far, nothing sort of use of his commander except the MG-34 so far from what I can see. No S-mines, no emplacements, trenches, bunkers, you name it. Looks like an airdrop there. Paratroopers joining in for some good fun. And noting here that Ciez is actually pulling up some light artillery zones, the Granatenwerfer. Veteran G2 warrior here for the pack counter. That's definitely going to make things difficult for the Germans with this increased damage and penetration, though. There's not really much at the moment that would definitely benefit, sort of, you know, be threatened by that, maybe except the scout cars, but not only because of the increased damage. It's not like it needs more penetration to deal with that flimsy armor. Germans seem a bit more on the defense at the moment. They seem to have slightly given up here. The further harassment once again, drawing away forces from here, which could allow them to maybe push further. And we are noting here a Scot here, actually. But it's enough. Chukonoko is not moving it forward to sort of help. I mean, I suppose again, if they want to retreat, they need some more artillery. But again, a part of me would say, you know, that you try flanking up, maneuvering, and again, sort of harassing the field point in return, instead of the rather sort of, well, World War I era-ish tactics, blast and sort of advance slowly, gaining an inch at a time. And they actually managed to clear out the pack howitzer, wiping out all the veterans he offered. Good Lord. That's definitely bad news there for the Americans. Scott slowly moving up. My one sort of move further, slowly up, at least shoot a bit there. And there you go, one scout goes down, Jax moves forward, might get the other one. No. Pack 40 creeping forward, that's a bit more dangerous. One punches spear down there, kaput. Meanwhile, the fighting continues down here, artillery and the Sherman blast away there, almost getting the MG-34 in the process. Question is also, what is Lemon here planning? Could he be going for a Panther? I mean, that would work out reasonably well here versus the current American sort of armor composition. And there we go, blasting away, artillery, slowly creeping up, again a lack of speed and sort of outflanking, and again though we do see here, Ciez sort of harassing a bit here on the flank. You should probably use the scout car to sort of further cover it, but again, drawing away forces and attention from the centre. Excellent shot there, clearing out the pack crew. Another splendid hit there from the Scottish, just tearing through those crowds. Looks like a bit of artillery going down there. And looks like Ciez is actually conducting a nice flank assault. Breaking through and is also up to 3 grenadier squads now. That machine goes for Ruffman, closing in. Need to be careful though, they're getting up a bit clumped up there. A good right here could prove catastrophic. But again, artillery seems to turn things around there. And we are noting a priest here for Chukonoko, now adding something a bit more serious than the Scot. Another flanking attempt down here, but will there be any infantry to support it? There we go. MG-34 pushed off, not the MG-42. Damn it. Still got the Scout cars they're operating. Another head-on assault there. And there goes Scott taking a one hell of a shooting there. 50 cover covering a retreat. And the priest so far doing nothing. I mean, really, Chukonoko's just begin blasting away with it as soon as possible, trying to get some good hits there. I mean, if they got an idea where the battle group headquarters is, I mean, that would be a good target initially. Otherwise, if they know where the Speer Panzer headquarters is, begin blasting that, sort of trying to deny enemy armor sort of in the future here for Lemon, and certainly further orbital down, which is also good. Trying to deny their Scott, though quickly repaired. Grenadiers stopping any counter harassment attempt up in the north so far, though that might not last long. In particular, since the Sherman's about to move in and show them the way. There we go. Priest firing away here. And there goes shooting after the battle group headquarters. Might get that Scout car if things not careful around here. Pioneers took one over hit there. That should also reveal the Speer Panzer headquarters, by the way. Truck also took a hit there. Damn crap trucks. building also got utterly wiped off the face of the earth, just in case it hit some krauts. So not the most suspicious, but again it also revealed the Schwerpanzer headquarters, which has just been an equally good target, to be honest. You note here the Germans sort of most likely spreading out to the west. They might try to push up. People trying to be good. The Americans are very weak again on the flanks. I mean, they're too focused on the centre. They're not really playing to the strength which is mobility and firepower. And that rather ends up to a certain extent playing a bit more to the Germans' strengths. There you go, 50 cal rushed off, building collapsed. For reasons unknown. There you go, the Germans finally forced away all those grenadiers there, although they did quite a number there on the American infantry. But we are noting here the Germans sort of pushing back. The Americans at the moment, they've got the territorial somewhat of an upper hand. And there you go, Kubelwagen hit from the Jackson. That's definitely overkill. But nonetheless, even then the Americans sort of be forced to fall back here. Packhouse and 50 Kepler doing what they can to restore the American advance. And the German advance. To get my facts straight. We got several pack forces now moving forward. Looks like even Lemon he was able to pick up one from Ciez. They managed to secure the centre, but they're losing the left flank. I mean, that's a good job there by the Germans, basically sort of shifting the advance, sort of trying to strike the Americans where they're less strong in that way, catch them off guard. But now, as all things shifting towards the left, the Germans are then striking back in the centre. Good manoeuvring there, good manoeuvring.
The enemy is overrunning.
Bit of lighter action on the right flank there from the Americans, though. Beyond that, all a bit quiet at the moment. Looks like we got the Packhouse firing again. Nope. A lot of artillery going down here nonetheless. There we go, the truck finally got wiped off the face of the earth. Is it second Scott? Or please, no? No, it is that, but apparently it's not. Well, interesting, usually sort of the gun's a bit more aimed upwards. Well, sort of again attempt here. And again pushed off. They really should try though to aim for this point specifically. Can do that, they can cut off the Germans from all the resources. And just to do that temporarily would definitely cause some large changes in German tactics. But there you go, more paratroopers on the way here, more Brownings, light machine guns it is. You might want to actually consider getting some Thompsons up on some of them at the very least. Also noting a ton of munitions here, ton of munitions. There's going to be a lot of airstrikes when it comes down to that. Another assault here going forward, Scott and Sherman. Another Sherman by the way for Chukonoko.
We lost a gun crew.
Infantry getting plastered. And the paratroopers finding here a desperate holding action against the centre, around the centre victory point as the Germans attacking from several sides with tons of machine guns. Armour might be needed to sort of break the stranglehold there. And the Volksgunners here, taking some nasty losses as well, but there you go. Centre is secured here by the paratroopers, albeit just rather barely. And rather close. And looks like we do have the first Panther here for the Germans, the Panzerlehr. Sending in its armour, a nice piece of armour there that should definitely cause him to be a bit more cautious. Bit of artillery again, so we'll try and strike up the centre. I think we'd better sort of save it for the battle group headquarters or a Schwerpanzer headquarters takeout. I mean, getting rid of those buildings would definitely do a lot of damage here to Lemon, but also even Ciez to a lesser extent. So you've got Pax and Scout car hanging back there. But largely, it's currently just a fight here versus most of, well, Lemon's infantry here that keeps rushing back and forth. And also really attempts to really push forward to at least outmaneuver it. Again, this very weak. In fact, a quick armoured rush striking through here could actually knock out the battle group headquarters in seconds, maybe even take out the other part. But now we got the Panther moving up there, opening up the Scott. Scott needs to pop smoke and get back. There we go. No response from the Americans beyond that. No Jacksons or Shermans moving in. And if you have no anti-tank gun either, that's pointing in a completely different direction. I suppose you can't predict moving on the left flank, but Oh well.
Listen up! Listen up! Light gun carrier tank ready.
Another Scot up there.
Gun ready.
There you go. Shum's advancing with Jackson support here versus the Panther. But already here, Ciez was prepared to cover it all. And there you go, an airstrike going in. Airstrike. No, of course, we've got the Sphere Panzer Corps. There we go. Rockets fired. We also got the Scout Car joining. There we go. They actually got one of the P-47s. Mortar crew taking heavy damage. Panther taking a nice bit of damage. The aircraft charges, I think, actually knocked out that Pack 40. Bit of a rare occurrence. Over here to Chukonoko. Bit of a bloody massacre there. Only one target left, by the way, in the zone here. That's the Scout Car with the P-47 kill. The attack run was actually begun a bit too early then, actually took out most damage. And there we go, crashing down again. 2 P-47s already down. Not a good start here for the United States Air Force. But again, getting rid of that Sphere Panzer quarters probably would be a nice thing though, alongside that Scout Car. There go, strike down, hit straight into the middle of the German positions. In fact, a second Priest has arrived. Again, I would suggest though, Battle Group headquarters down, but still, there's a Sphere Panzer quarters which would also do with getting rid of, because that would clear up the skies, but also deny further Panthers and orbital down here for Lemon. Again, would hurt the Germans. But again, they're being pushed back now. They're being pushed back. Their rocket strike combined with now two artillery pieces are putting a lot of pressure back on the German shoulders. But they need to keep up the pressure further than that. They can't just sort of, you know, passively blast them with big shots. That's not going to last long. And there we go. Ciez, having gone for Jaeger armor, has called in an Elephant tank destroyer. From whatever unit still has them and hasn't shifted over to Jagd Panthers or Jagd Tigers. But the Jagd Panther was a rather common heavy tank destroyer on the western front. It barely saw any action on the eastern front, by the way. Forces being held up by the paratroopers. Finally, they're making way through the village south district. But beyond that, I mean, note a lot of the other stuff that's actually being held back. They're not really sort of making any big push. They're not advancing their lines. They're just sort of peeking through, but not really building up for sort of really sort of breaking off the German counterattack then. And there you go. Another battle group headquarters more or less in the exact same position. Again, shoot at that Schwerer Panzer headquarters. Blast it to smithereens. And that's a lot of artillery, plus the Scott and the Pack Howitzer, because that's still around. So a bit surprised here they're not really doing their best to sort of knock that thing out of commission. Here we go again, front line very naked, so the Germans are able to sort of pierce through already here and push back the Americans to the sort of original positions if they're not careful. Not really much action over here again to sort of try to draw the Germans away from here, but we do see a light attempt here, but again, most of the German forces are here, so it's not that difficult to counterattack towards there. Troops going into defensive stance, this Germans advancing. Again, they should just blast that thing. Need to be careful there. I mean, they're about to encounter something very nasty, and again, they're sort of trying to go into where the German defenses are thickest. With the Shermans, again, they should aim for the other side, I think. But here we go, coming in a fire, and thus alerting the fascists to what's going on there. Panther and Elephant ready to react. Very much ready to react. And the artillery is basically doing nothing, but there you go. Elephant shooting, revealing its position now. Looks like they're firing. Straight into the suspected German front line, I imagine. But it looks... Oh! Well. They went down. MD-42 there took a hit. I've moving forward against something with the Gunners and the Panther. And there you go, we got another P-47 strike going in. We got, oh dear, a Stuka strike. They're knocking out the anti-tank gun. Nicely done there. There we go, Panther taking a few hits. Still, the Schwer Panzer, of course, something to be feared, and of course that scout coverage already proved itself adept at shooting down aircraft. And rather interesting, it rather looks like they're actually targeting the scout car over the Panther. And there you go, another P-47 went down here. Panther being repaired. Lots of pioneers around it though. Dangerous, dangerous. There we go. Heavy losses there, heavy losses. Over to Ciez. Slowly creeping his way forwards. Now again, the Germans are for the time being contained, but again, there's a surprising lack of sort of flank actions here from the Americans. Capturing way forwards. 50 caliber down. We got artillery blasting away here. Artillery flying back and forth. Looks like the howitzers are shooting again. We've got the elephant actually advancing forward here for some reason. Empty assault here, and there we go, we got sect, not that sect actually, the other one. Either way, it's just gone down to the right here on the American strong point, where therefore all the efforts are being concentrated. And they're actually moving infantry into it. What are you doing? No. No. No, 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 no. Ah! What are you doing, Sarantini? What are you doing? Oh, the madness. And the Americans, of course, being forced away here. A nice concentrated push here from the Germans. Supported by one very vicious artillery barrage there. Showing the Americans the Germans also know how to do artillery occasionally. Maybe lots of shot. There's the Panther elephant moving up here. Not really doing much though, and they're actually abandoning the breach. Not sure why. My best guess it was an accident. Scott firing. Jackson interesting enough not moving in to try and get off some good shots down the Panther either. More infantry moving forward. MD-34 coming in. Dead 34 by the way. More artillery going down. Gunneers advancing. Oh, there we go. Getting plastered there by the Scots. Unit here up here seems to be utterly forgotten. Seems to be just holding up actually. Scots or priests firing. Delivering a rather scathing sermon. Towards here now. Not entirely sure what Chukonoko here is aiming for, to be honest. It looks like the Americans finally got some smoke up there, some grenades. MD-34 though wiped out. Good night. Another assault here up on the left side by Chukonoko. Elephant taking shots there. Artillery going down by the looks of it, or another airstrike. I'm not entirely sure.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Panther there and Pack forming a nice solid wall there, immediately sending one of the Shermans cooking. No survivors there. While the Orbital on there close getting hunted down by the paratroopers. Making their way back here to the battle group headquarters this area again, not seeing any artillery. Again, he left them. What's a bit unsure about what's going on there for Chukonoko. It's a bit weird. Germans still seem to be doing some damage here to the Americans. And again, they managed to push forwards. Interesting enough, the Americans not taking it back. Grenades going off here, left and right. Shots still flying over. Pathfinder sneaking up there. Another P-47 strike here for Ciez. Oh, not P-47, but Stuka bombing strike there for Ciez. Silly me, silly me. Ooh, Gunnies, they make themselves easy target for the Scots. Taking heavy damage, more artillery going down in the centre, trying to break up the fascists there. It looks like another P-47 strike. Wonder how many P-47s make it out of that one. MGs are getting cleared out, but the P-47 straight in. Another assault down the left flank though, so Johnson all the time getting caught out at the centre of the right flank, so Americans are finally pushing up the left flank a bit more solidly, but again it rather seems like Chukonoko's just been doing it, hoping eventually the Germans aren't there, which is not necessarily the wisest of military strategies, and he's hoping your opponent sort of decides to just leave. Looks like another Jackson there for Chukonoko. It looks like P-40 shot down, crashing into who knows what. Another massive barrel straight down the German infantry. Panther veterans too, and we've got another scout car for Ciez, interestingly enough. Another scout car. Not entirely sure what I'd get at this point either way. Over to Lemon here, much short infantry, but getting a second Panther again. The Sharp Hunter, of course, have been interesting enough, not bombarded a lot. There's been not really any great priorities there from the Americans in knocking it out, despite having 2 priests, for example, which might have been able to recruit quickly. We've got lots of shots here flying across here. The centre's now seeing all of the action, drawing away from the left. So again, there could then be an attempt here to clear out the left by a quick flank assault there by Chukonoko, using his tanks and his tank destroyers. Maybe even getting these 2 buildings then. Veterans E5 orbital down there, 32 kills. And there you go, B-34 down as well. Oh, it's an MD-42. MD-42. Looks like the lieutenant is trying to make off with it. And now we got a smaller Panther unit here driving about, including 1 veteran T2 Panther. That's everything going to cause a bit of problems there, and looks like they might push up the left flank here, which does seem surprisingly only got 1 anti-tank gun though, with, well, Wages not using take aim. And there goes, shows a lot of trouble. Armor piercing rounds, Chukonoko, armor piercing rounds. And Sarantini needs to keep his Jackson as well nearby, but no, looks like he's not. Anti-tank gun, by the way, got quickly cleared out there by the supporting infantry. Jackson is moving up. Got another Jackson there from Chukonoko, but not quite joining in either. As much as imagine. So there we go. Getting damn close there. Scott went down here though. Scott went down. Elephant moving straight for everything. Opening up on the American units as they're 2 occupied with the Panthers. Now he's calling the assault there, though the Elephant is risking itself, exposing itself, but thankfully there's no infantry that can actually harm it there at the area. Anti-tank recruit, Jackson out of control. Oh, Lord. Again, no sign of arm piercing rounds on the anti-tank gun, which overall decreases its usability there versus the Panther, particularly the Veteran 2. A nice assault here, straight through the flank here, and partly also through the centre, crumbling the American lines, who are clearly not prepared for this. I mean, 1 anti-tank gun without any sort of explosive force is not going to stop Panthers charging. And there you go, abandoning the priest. Not entirely sure why he did that. There's 1 Sherman left here. 1 Panther could go down soon. But then again, so might the Sherman here. 1 more hit. Jackson here trying to flank the Elephant, knock it out. Can it work? There's a lot of anti-tank in this time. We also got Ripe nearby though. Things have rather gotten chaotic here. Now they go Panthers breaching in there, knocking out the 2nd priest as well. Jackson went down. Elephant, though, barely got any health left. He also got the scout code, got some anti-tank guns. I mean, it's just utter chaos. The lines are all over the place. The infantry certainly isn't. There you go. He's actually recruiting the anti-tank, and he might try and get off a shot there on the Elephant as it escapes. Can he do it? Reifman spawning for it, and Reifman needs to get out of there soon. They can't handle much more. Reifman. Oh, there we go. They got wiped out, but so might the pack. But he got the Elephant. He got the Elephant. Panther there, almost down. Almost down. The other one almost efficiency free. Scott driving about here. Quick anti-tank rifle grenade. Could knock out that one. There we go. Panther down. Panzer kaputt. Heavy losses on both sides, but I think the Germans largely got out of that one better. Partly due to actually flanking and not charging through the centre of the enemy's line first, at least not initially. I mean, once they were too occupied with the flank, then they pushed through the centre and did some serious damage there as well. So nice assault there by Ciez and Lemon. Another priest there for Chukonoko. More Jacksons as well. And the Americans, by the way, at least one of them has got tons of fuel. Sarantini's barely used any. But back to Sarantini. No armour whatsoever. A bit of infantry and whatnot. Oh, he's also got a Jackson. That's something. Moving, fighting here for the centre. Grenade there, and the airborne are quickly forced away. Maintain the army doing what they can here to stop the assault. And a Scot there, veteran free, landing one hell of a hit there on the fault, goes almost wiping them out in one horrific go. Priest firing down south, I suppose. I'm not sure where he's firing it. Oh, he's trying to shoot here. Alright. Trying to get the battle group headquarters again. Ciez shifting things over here to the right flank finally. Again, building up a sort of more solid front. Packs, mortars, and other fun things. Jacksons and Scots here plastering the centre. With the Panther planning coming fire here. As everything goes on, again closing on the veteran defeat. Oh yeah, Panther getting under fire here from the Jacksons. Got a few shots there, could. Never mind, then another P-47. I think that's the fourth one, or maybe the fifth. There you go. None of the rockets actually managed to hit the Panther. And I think both aircraft went down, actually. That's one hell of a gunner there. Maybe the scout cars got... Yeah, I think also the scout cars gotten some kills there in that regard. Again, it's rather surprising they haven't tried to knock out the spare Panzer headquarters, considering the amount of aircraft coverage and part of anti-aircraft coverage. Ciez sneaking up force there towards the north. Good job there, while the Scot here trying to harass is definitely regretting it. No idea why Chukonoko sent a valuable veteran to the Scot all the way down there for that. And now, in fact, he has directly resulted in the Panther gaining veterancy free, more mobility, higher rate of fire. That's bad news. That is very bad news. For the Americans, this for the Germans, it's great news. Yeah, he's got veterancy free, whatever that means.
The capture point is under attack.
But the American effort seems to be running into more issues. The force is getting worn down now. After that one particular assault again, we got another Panther joining in here. Again, that spare Panzer headquarters having been allowed to live for so long has really proved to be quite detrimental to the American cause. In terms of American aircraft shot down and, well, amount of Panthers getting out on the field. Victory points being lost as well. This is not looking very promising. Jackson doing what he can there, which is apparently not much. More Jacksons moving down. We got 3 Jacksons. None of them hitting. Impressively bad work. And there you go. Packs flanking up. They're getting one of the Jacksons. Ciez making good work there on the flank in particular. And the paratroopers there could get knocked out. They at least suffer some heavy damage from the veteran 3 scout car, which is definitely tearing into their squishy bodies. Absolutely crazy fighting here. 43 kills on the Obersoldaten.
We're losing a capture point.
Heroes of the Reich. a very crazy fight indeed. We've got BARs and 50 calibers laying forgotten across the battlefield. Ciez securing the entire north. The Americans are now basically losing most of the map. Scott's being called out here for Sarantini. Over to Chukonoko. Priestler seems to have done some damage. In fact, 26 kills. In fact, we're seeing a creeping barrage. Interesting, interesting. A bit rarely seen, but nice to see one actually used. He seems to be trying to get some here. But doesn't seem to be having much luck with it. Anti-tanking up here. Once more armor-piercing rounds, armor-piercing rounds. Chukonoko seems strangely reluctant about using them.
We lost a gun crew.
Another anti-tanking crew wiped out. Jackson getting off a shot there. Gaining veterans one. Armor-piercing rounds, armor-piercing rounds. Use armor-piercing rounds. Oh dear. Apparently not.
Allied AT gun has been destroyed.
The Germans are closing the noose here. The Americans have lost the territory. Bit of artillery going on there, I imagine. Maybe decoy though. An attempt there blasting away. Still no armor piercing rounds. And there you go. Veteran D4 for the Panther. Increased range. More accuracy. Jackson could very well be knocked out by that. In fact, he's gained veteran D2 itself. At the same time, we got Forceman up here on the right flank further, and looks like Ciez has actually taken up. He's got Panthers up. Panzers, not Panthers. Panzers.
We've dropped to 200 points.
A load of corpses here. Looking very auspicious. It looks like a nice smoke grenade from the Germans caused a full retreat from the Americans. Bad news all around, bad news all around. Looks like the Germans might be able to break through the lines here. And anti-tank and wreck. The Germans don't want that kind of American crap. Salvaging the 50 caliber. And the Scots are banned. Crew's banning the Scot for some reason. And the Germans apparently not wanting anything of that either.
Overrunning one of our capture points.
Interestingly enough.
Man your stations.
Now we got the Panthers on the move.
Armor here.
There we go. Nice hit down the Panther 4. Panther 4 though shoots on some infantry instead against the Major's unit, almost. Looks like the Jackson might try and hunt it down with the vets. She's got him at work. Looks like the priest got, well, priested. Big one for the other Panther, very close to veteran C5 for the highly veteran Panther. And there you go, Jackson could get the Panther 4. The Panther 4, in fact, I don't think it's got one hit in there on the Jackson. And there you go, Panther 4 kaput, but needs to get moving down there to help those the Panthers. With armor-piercing rounds, preferably. Armor-piercing rounds, Chukonoko. Another Jackson moving in there from the south. Getting off a good hit down the Panther.
Armor here. Send your orders. Armor ready.
No further attempt to hit them down for the time being. Extremely close to veteran 25. Victory points are going down for the Americans.
A capture point is being overrun.
Come on, armor piercing rounds, armor piercing rounds. And there we go, veteran 25. Damn it.
Krauts have cut our supply line. Frontline units are being
armor piercing. I mean, imagine if he'd used armor piercing rounds, he could probably gun the Panther on that third shot, but no! No. No. What a shame. And now we got a veteran C5 Panther there, a true Panther ace, a hero of the Reich, unites cross with oak leaves, cross swords.
We lost an infantry unit. They got wiped out.
And some poor sots up north got absolutely murdered there. No survivors, I'm afraid.
Armor here.
Chukonoko's utterly without anything left here. Popping out to Ciez and speeding this up a bit.
The enemy is down to 75 points.
Looks like they're still building a force here though.
HQ is ready, and heavy tanks are now available.
Shermans and whatnot. Jacksons.
Victory is in our grasp. The enemy has 25 points remaining.
15, 12, 9, 6, 3,
Only have 10.
0, and game over there. Game over, a loss to United States, victory to the Germans here, and a bit of a surprising turnout considering how well the Americans were doing in the beginning. They really had the Germans contained, they cut them off on fuel and everything, but the thing was then the Americans sort of basically just kept on in a very one-track mind, just hammering in at the same spot. They stopped flanking, they stopped trying to outmaneuver their opponent, they stopped trying to harass them, overall giving the Germans more time to sort of basically focus the defense in one spot, which allowed them to sort of absorb more damage and do more damage to the Americans. And of course it also meant they didn't have to worry about covering a large amount of territory. I mean, again, there were several times where the problem with the Americans, if they made a good push, could have gone for it, cut them off again. That would force the Germans to sort of push up defense here. That would make them thinner and more spread out. But again, it never quite happened. That was definitely one of the larger mistakes I think the Americans did sort of strategically. Another one was, again, with all the artillery they had, they never tried to sort of knock out the Schwerpanzer headquarters. That would also have done a lot to sort of hurt the German economy, but also limit Lehmann's amount of armor and infantry in that regard, of the heavy infantry. So that was also, I think, another sort of larger mistake there from the Americans. But again, the overall sort of focus just sort of basically World War I tactics without any sort of greater amount of maneuver or flanking really hurt the Americans. It's not really sort of what the American army is made for, and it only really benefited the Germans. Again, had there been greater flanking issues, the Germans have been in a lot weaker position in particular, and I'm going to level a bit of Kremlin versus Ciez because he was too focused on the elephant and getting it in the first place, so he would have no medium armor to which to cover and react to this, which only had the scout cars, and if there had been so many greater efforts on the flanks, they would not have been able to hold out against that. Even the elephant would have trouble with that. So in that regard, he was lucky they only did that, otherwise he would have been in a much weaker position. That could have cost him quite a bit. So that's something there to consider. As for Lehmann, he did pretty well overall. Again, he flanked, he was the one to sort of make the bigger pushes, the bigger moves. Again, he sort of really did some damage to the Americans. Again, with this armor, again, the sort of major first assault of here was great. And of course, there's another sort of smaller tactical niggle there from the Americans. Again, they had only one anti-tank gun, but they never used the armor-piercing guns, only got the, take aim ability. But again, if you have the American anti-tank gun, take aim as soon as you can, and also use the armor-piercing rounds. And again, never, even on the Jacksons, were armor-piercing units used as well, and that was also something that really hurt them. Again, they could easily have done a lot more damage to the Panthers that way. But overall, the issue here was the Americans, they were too much in trying to bash their way through and trying to sort of hit from the sides. In most cases, in most military doctrines, the thing is, if your opponent's really dug in one area, you try to get around it, isolate it, and then deal with it, rather they try to just deal with it without isolating and getting around it. So that is essentially where I think the largest issue came from. Again, both players played, all sides played nicely, but there were some problems on the strategic level for the Americans, and that's rather what caused their doom. But again, had they done that, they could have probably crumbled the Germans a lot quicker, because again, in that regard, Ciez's unit combination sadly was a bit weak. But again, in this case, it turned out alright. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, want to subscribe, tell your friends, share with everyone. If not, send in a replay and write some feedback in the comments. If this is Imperial Danger, cheers, and thank you all for watching. Bye.